Okay. Good evening, everybody. And once again, we would like to welcome you to Saffron's Seika Voiceover Talk Show, another Wednesday. How is everybody doing? Hope you've all had an amazing start to your weeks. Yes, we'd like to welcome all of you who have tuned in today. And we want to give a special shout out to our Facebook viewers. Thank you so much for coming on. Please feel free to interact via Facebook. We do pick up all your questions. So yes, for all of you on Facebook, from wherever you are around the world, especially for our American viewers, if you're on, we are saying, please stay safe. We see the headlines and just know that you are in our prayers, and we're praying for each and every one of you and hoping that you'll all be safe. This too shall pass. You know, it's weather, it's a season, and we're hoping that, you know, you're all safe. So thank you. And this session, as we are continuing our February, and this is still the ongoing financial February, as we said, in the wake of, well, Christmas seems so long ago now. It just seems like non-existent. And we're rolling into 2021. And in order to for year, you know, what do we look at? We have to look at our finances. So financial February is doing that. And we've had 2 weeks of awesome information, knowledge, and education. And I hope that you're all actually doing something with the knowledge you've been receiving. Guests, they're now part of the family. They're not even guests anymore. So we've got Samuel Lay and Primrose Cressy. Hi guys, I'm you.
Good evening. How are you doing?
We're good, Sam. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Great to see you all again.
Good. You're back to blow our minds. And Primrose, we missed you last week.
I know, I'm so sorry.
Don't apologize.
But I'm glad I'm here now.
I'm glad you're here.
I'm so glad I'm here.
Yeah, I'm very excited. So we'll be kicking off very shortly once I go through some house rules. So just know that we are interactive. So please feel free to join in via Facebook, via the chat, and, you know, interject once, you know, there is a chance to do so. We do ask that you don't put out any personal information or details, because obviously this is a live show. And if there are any issues that you feel are very pertinent, we can always signpost you outside of the platform to get we're not giving you any advice via the Zoom talk show. What you're receiving today is basic information, okay? And that will help you make an informed decision about your finances. If you do seek financial advice, that should be outside of the platform, and you will have to do that yourself. So without much ado, I am going to ask, can we have a recap, please, Marcia? We're just throwing you. Do you know what? I'm not going to ask Marcia to do it. There's no need, because I've got Sam. Sam, can you just run us through this? And this is just for the benefit of those who were not here last week, so that they can be able to follow up with this week. Just a brief recap of last week, and then you could start, and then we'll hand over to Primrose. Is that okay?
Yes. Shall I do that through sharing my slides, or shall I just explain the kind of stuff we went through?
If you can just explain, that would be amazing.
Okay.
So because I know you're going to share slides today. So if you can just give an overview, you know, quick.
So a quick overview, as a financial coach. So what I do is help families become debt-free and financially independent. We do that through education. And what we've been going through is the 5 steps to financial freedom, 5 steps to financial independence, 5 steps to being financially intelligent. And, you know, the way we describe it is basically building a house. If you're going to build a house, the foundation is the most important part of that house. And what is the foundation? Is just the stuff that holds the house up. Protection. You know, people say they don't need protection. People don't understand it more than anything else. So we think protection is important. You need to have the right things in place. If you don't have enough money to cover all your liabilities, make sure you've put something in place. And there's a lot more to it than that, but I'm just going to summarize that. And then the next thing we looked at debt. You know, the next step is clearing your debt. How much debt do you have? You did not get into debt overnight. You're not going to get out of debt overnight. So guess what? You need to put a plan in place where you know how to become debt-free quicker than ever. So an example is myself. When I did my plan 10 years ago, I was due to be debt-free in 29 years. My plan showed me I could be debt-free in 9 years, and I did it in 5. That is the power of having a plan. If you don't have a plan, how will you know when you get to where you want to go to? And then the next step is your expenses. And this was what we did last week. And we looked at the rule of 72. If you do not know the rule of 72, you're missing out. The rule of 72 shows you how long it takes for your money to double at a given interest rate. And this is how the banks are making money off your money. So it's really important. If you want to play the game, if you want to win the game, which is the money game, you need to learn the game. You need to learn the rules. And the rule of 72 is just a snippet of one of the rules that we need to understand. So that's it. That's the last 2 weeks. This is the 3rd week. So risk management, debt, and expenses.
Okay, Sam, I'm just going to hold you there. Because you've recapped, because yours is normally in debt, Primrose is going to have to run off shortly. We're going to flip this. I'm going to ask Primrose to start. And then once Primrose is done, and then I'm going to come 3rd step of the house, aren't we?
Fourth.
Oh, we're on the 4th. Okay. Oh, yeah, sorry. We're on the 4th step. So we've almost finished building the house. But I'm going to hand it over to Primrose. And then, so if you have your slides, get them ready, you know.
No worries.
And we'll get back to you. Okay, Primrose. So we're going to ask you to unmute yourself, and the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Personal and Business Insurance. So today I'm going to be discussing family finances, which we are all looking at today. We all know, I'll base this from the saying that family is everything. Like we all know that saying, family gets, it's the most rewarding and fulfilling thing in our lives. We will all agree with that. Family fills our memories with the best and lifetime, moments. It's literally, it's everlasting happiness, right? However, there are challenges that come with that always, and one of them is family finances. I just, put this into summary. Sorry, I did make a presentation. I'm sorry. We will just chat over it, and we can always share ideas, or you can correct me if I'm wrong anywhere. So the challenges, I looked at some of the challenges that come with family finances. And I put down about 3 of the 3 major ones. And one of them I looked at was bills and expenses that make it easy to get off track, if you aren't careful. When you look at your bills, what are some of the things? There's so many things we mess up with in terms of bills that are unnecessary, if you want to put it. Things can range from small things like groceries. You go out to shop, What do you buy? Sometimes some of us go out to shop even without lists, a shopping list. You end up buying things you don't want to buy. You end up buying things you wouldn't have bought. You end up buying snacks that you do not actually need, or the family doesn't even need. So what are some of those things? That is something to look at. It can be from little things, from as little as purchasing, things that can distract you from your financial goals. You understand? And that is also popular. So I looked at how to get back on track with our expenses, with the things that we think that we end up messing our finances with as a family. So one important thing I thought about was getting your family on board. Fine. After realizing, say for example, you're in debt, your finances are all over the place. As a family, the first thing you want to consider in order for you to get back onto track is to get your family on board. It doesn't matter which ages. The little ones are even better to understand, are easy to convince, and they can easily understand. Have a conversation with everyone, regardless of the age. For my 8-year-old, I tell her, you know what, sometimes I'll be broke. And she said, Mommy, this time, there's a time she told me, this year we haven't been out, and that was 2020. We haven't been anywhere. I said, yes. And do you know what? For me, that has saved some money for me. I took it as an advantage and said, you know what? Because I have actually saved money for not going out. So how about that? But that means then, to your advantage, I can be able to afford buying you a toy that you like. You understand? So it doesn't matter the ages, because these conversations will vary differently depending on the age. If it's a teenager, what are those things that they need but not want? The things that will take lots of money out of family. Do not spend carelessly. It's not being careless, but at times we buy things we don't need. We do buy things even kids do not need. So as we go through conversations, we just need to make it clear that spending habits have got to change, and make sure you explain this to your family, that we need to spend money on more important issues. I mean, it's fine to have entertainment sometimes. It's nice to have fun once in a while, but you know what? If the finances look like they're already drained, we need to find ways of getting them back. Explain how changes will help, actually. First of all, it's going to affect them because we got to tighten up. We got to cancel out so many things for us to be able to get our finances back onto track. So explain how changes will affect the family. But also, the one thing you want to do is you want to explain also how this is going to help in, as you go on. All right. And also avoid sending your family into a financial shock. Ease them slowly into the new habit of spending, of the new spending. What are the things now? You remember, you're sitting down with them and you're making these decisions collectively together as a family. So what are these things we need to spend on? And what are some of those things we do not really need to, what are the ones? The things we buy, but we do not really need, we can do without them. So things like that. That way, involve them. When you involve your family into this, they'll understand things better, and they will actually move, make your journey easy, easier for you make it easy for them, and they'll make it easy for you, right? So the other thing I looked at getting back onto track was going through your statements for the last month. Make sure, look at your statement for the last month. This is a good way of organizing yourself, organizing your finances. Yeah, you got paid. Look at your statement. What are those things, the list of extras you spent money on? Did you really need these things? Yeah. Pick your financial habits. For example, eating out. When you understand your habits, you can then now make a list of everything, the financial habits. What are they? I would say things like I'm bad at having coffee every morning. When I'm walking into work, a coffee is a must. I know it's a bad habit, but realistically, when I was looking into this kind of presentation, I said to myself, actually, and I looked at the figures, I was like, I spend $3.50 on a coffee every morning. My latte, I must have my latte walking into office. And then when I multiplied that by the 5 days I'm supposed to be into work, I'm like, okay, just on coffee, I spend 17 pounds a week. Then times 4 weeks in a month, I'm spending 70 pounds a month just on coffee. I hated myself. But it's only after this kind of, presentation that I went back now to reflect and look into that. I'm like, wow, this is such a bad habit. I need to stop. Cigarettes. Why do you want to have a packet? There's so many things we spend on unknowingly. Save this money for something else. When I looked at 70 pounds, I'm like, 70 pounds is annoying. I was upset. That could be money spent on something serious than, coffees. That is for a month. So things like eating out. Where I work, we have, we do not have, we have to order food outside. We have got to. So look at things like that. That is something you can spend your money on unnecessarily. Get into the habit. You can easily get into the habit of packing a snack. When you pack yourself a snack, pack a sandwich. I mean, it's going to be painful, but because you're on a journey of saving something for your pockets, pack these things instead of spending a tenner, 10 pounds to order food out. And the other thing is you're going to include Uber, probably, to be delivered. So you're spending about 12 to 15 pounds every day if you have got to eat out. So such things, such habits can be stopped. You can order once in a while, you can order twice in a week, but you can also get into the system of get up early, prepare your meal, think about what you're gonna eat, have a packed lunch and carry it in. That could save you some money, right? Be one of the, be a one-car family. You can easily be, you've seen families who have 2 cars. It's fine if you can afford to, but if you're a person that is trying to cut down on your finances as a family, you can get into a habit of sharing that car and say, you know what, there are things we are going to save on. We'll save on gas, we'll save on maintenance, we'll save on taxes, we'll save on things like that. So that is a lot of money you're saving on there. So and so forth, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. So when you get into the habit of that, it helps you save some money, right? So the other second section I looked at is setting a budget. So when you set a budget, figure out your expenses, compare to your income. Figure out your expenses and compare this. Sometimes, being in the financial sector, sometimes we always do run income and expenditure sheets for people. But that sometimes they tell you, I actually spend more than I earn. And then when you ask how that is possible, they say, I don't even know where this money comes from. But the actual thing is, if you ask me how much I have on the account now, I do not even have £100. But all I know, I earn 1,500, but I'm spending more when I put it down on paper. So you will find that that kind of a person will be struggling. So when you compare your income and expenditure, then you have a budget. This then helps you to again understand what you need as opposed to what you want. It helps you track your spending, yeah. And also, this creates some, questions for you, like, are you overspending? Are you able to set money aside for emergencies? Have you got emergencies? We are in the era whereby we cannot even run to a friend to borrow money to pay rent. Everybody's hard up. There's no money to to spare. My emergency fund, that is something that I cannot even try to touch because I know that is for my rainy day when I cannot even go anywhere for money. That is where when I not even want to go for a loan, that is something that is important, right? Again, I'll mention that you need to know your needs versus wants. Answer all questions that you need when setting up your budget. So it helps you to know what you really want. Take your time and get all the details squared away and be accountable for every penny you spend. I mean, this is easy to say. I'm not saying I do myself, I don't do all these things, but when I looked at this topic, it actually helped me to also check myself and say, okay, we are all not perfect. Nobody's perfect at finances. But when we remind ourselves of these things, we learn. And when we share in, forums like this, it helps us to then remind ourselves of the right things, the correct way to do things. So when I was doing this, researching about this, I was like, okay, I also need to check myself. I don't do this, but yeah, I have to talk about it. Doesn't stop you from talking about it. But knowing that I'll go back and do this is something to practice, right? So thirdly, after knowing your budget, now you go down to cutting your spending for you to know and adopt to new habits. Okay, you now have a custom budget. Remember, after like drawing out your budget for a month, you need to practice this on a monthly basis, weekly or monthly. I would say for me monthly, because then it will help me to understand better what do I need on a monthly basis, or where did I spend, what did I not need during the month. It helps you to know, when you have a custom budget, set up your family finances and have a chat with your family about some changes that need to be made. Now, after doing all that, now is the time to take action. Make it clear to your families that you need to stick to the goals of your budget. Evaluate where you stand at the end of each month and see how you can make it better by keeping your financial goals. I mean, it's going to be hard, like I said before. It's always hard to stick to these things. It's hard to tell your kids, okay, we'll be having McDonald's once a week, just on a Sunday as a treat, as opposed to having it 4 days a week. Yeah, it's going to be painful, but we got to do this. If you have fallen off, get back to your routine and make sure you try again. Don't stop, keep trying. If you find out that in a month, the things you are supposed to do, you did not hit your financial goals as a family, check yourself all over again. Start again, it's okay. Just beat yourselves, yeah, and make yourselves accountable to that, yeah. Try again, make adjustments to your budget to make it more realistic. Always strive to do better. That really helps. Always strive. Keep motivated. It doesn't mean that when you're saving or when you are tracking, working within a budget, life's going to be tough, things go to be boring. No, you can still have a good life. You can still have it all, but keep it on track. Because I also think that it's not all bad. Throughout the entire process of managing your finances and the entire process of getting your family back on track, remember to keep positive at the forefront. Okay, by this I mean, remember why you are doing this. Because remember, this is something you have discussed with your family. Why are we doing this? Let them know the advantages of us doing this. It could be we are saving for a family trip. At the end of the year or in summer, we all have to go away. So this is why now we need to cut down on eating out as a family and spending so much money, because every penny will then count when we go out on a trip. So that helps you to understand why you're cutting back, or why your family have got to go through the pain of cutting down on finances. Get rid of your debt. It could be getting rid of your debt. That's the reason why we track our finances. We are getting rid of a debt. We want to be financially free. We want to enjoy lives like others enjoy life. We don't want to be, all the time be worrying about where money is going to come from. There's no way you're going to tell an 8-year-old or younger than that even that I can't do this because I am broke. We are past that period of time where we can now tell our kids that we are broke, we can't afford. I mean, you cannot look at a child and tell them, you know what, I can't do this. I cannot even afford a trip, you know, for 2 years or 3 years. I can't take you guys anywhere, right? So that is, those are the things. It would be better to write down all the end goal, frame it, and put it somewhere in the house. Then that means it will be a great way for you to keep one eye on the prize, which will be then exciting for your children. It will be exciting for any member of the family that you achieved that goal. And that's some kind of motivation again. You write it down, you know, like, okay, every day, there's no coffee. Before you leave your house, you know, no coffee. I'm not taking any more coffee. I'm not giving away money like that. If I want coffee, let me buy a jar. A jar is not even $3.50. A jar of coffee from the supermarkets is it's less than that. I'll buy my coffee. If I want, I will buy a cup, those thermal cups, put my coffee, make it homemade. It's okay. Nobody's going to even, you know, there's no problem with that. Because inside you, within, exactly, Amy. Yes, sister. That is it. Because at the end of the day, yeah, exactly. In fact, I need to buy that one. Is that a Costa? Is that a Costa?
I just done the name
Yes,
away, trying to do an advertising.
Because, you know, that will even motivate me more, because when I buy my jar of coffee from the supermarket, then I'll bring it home with a Costa cup, because I love Costa. I'll make my coffee there, carry it with me to work. I'll have, you know, saved so much money there.
Brilliant.
Right. So,
Auntie Nikki also showed us her mug. To show us that. And apparently, if you go into the coffee shop with one of these, most of the coffee shops now, they just refill for you, and you actually pay less. So you can start, you know, come down a little bit, step by step, till you make your own.
Small baby steps. I mean, it's going
less.
to be, it's always going to be painful. The process is not easy, but we've got to take baby steps to get there.
Thank you so much, Rose. That was quite a lot of nuggets, and I'm wondering. I'm sure some people might have some few questions.
Go
on.
But yeah, I'm going to open the floor. So please, if anybody has any questions they wish to ask, Rose, while she's on, please unmute yourselves. Yemi, you go first.
Oh no, I'll wait for anyone else to go first. I'm good.
Okay, if there is anybody, please, you can either indicate by raising your hands. I'm going to check the chat. Okay, we're just welcoming everybody. I'm so sorry. I forgot to introduce who you were. I apologize. So, but most of you know us. But for those of you who don't, I will just quickly say I'm Giz Ojiako, and I'm the Director for Programs for Saffron SACAP Limited. So, for those of you who don't know, who are tuning in for the first time, maybe, that's who I am. And with me, we have Marcia. Marcia, you just quickly introduce yourself before we take questions from our viewers, please.
Hello. Thank you for joining us again another week. Thank you, Saffron family. I'm Marcia Eliza, and I'm the Director for Youth Engagement and Intervention.
Thank you, Marcia.
And she's also a coach. Can you please let us know that you're our coach?
And I'm also a life coach and NLP practitioner.
Awesome.
She keeps hiding that, but that's a major part of who Marcia is for Saffron. Go ahead, Yemi, if you'd like to introduce yourself, please.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the Saffron family. Welcome our regular family members, and actually spotted a couple of new people. So we will say hello much later to yourselves. Welcome everyone on Facebook. I'm dropping comments, and please leave your questions for me on Facebook, and I will forward it on. Sorry?
Okay, looks like we're having some technical issues there.
Can you hear me?
But we will come back. Don't worry, Yem. We'll come back to you later. So if we have anybody that has any questions, if we have any question, I'm going to ask you to bear with me, Yemi, because the connection is really bad. So we'll come back later. But if we have anybody that has any questions for Primrose, please feel free to unmute yourself. Primrose has just basically gone over finances and how you will address that with the families. So it's more about family budgeting, and yes, it might be uncomfortable, but it's something that needs to be done in order for families to have, a debt-free home, basically. So there is a question I would like to put to you, Primrose. I always draw on the COVID era, this pandemic, and for the families who have lost jobs, the debt is going to pile up, right? Because now there's no income, but there's still going to be expenditure. For those families who will be sitting down worrying and thinking, what am I going to do? How? What kind of information could you give to those families to be able to kickstart some kind of plan, because there's no point burying our heads in the sand. You need to do something about it. What kind of information, knowledge can you give to them to help them in this very dire situation?
Thank you, Giz. I mean, just like we all know that there's advantage to every bad situation. This is a time for me. I take it that the COVID era has allowed us to be able to reflect on so many things, sit down and think, okay, I have lost a job, but the bill won't stop. Then that triggers you to think about the things you can do even when you're unemployed. Create streams of income. There's so many things to do. Create streams of income. Things like you could just teach yourself how to bake. Start with small things. Find a skill that can, where you do not have to put in any money to learn. There's so many things on YouTube that teach us skills to do. So go onto YouTube, find something as small as learning how to bake cupcakes. Now, you're going to sell these cupcakes to your families, to people who have birthdays, to friends, start small. There's always something, to start. If you're very good at blogging, you can do that, write up something for people. If you're very good at, there's always something. There's always something to start.
Brilliant, brilliant. So that's you're basically saying, think outside of the box. So look for other ways in which you can earn an income. Because I think what's happening in the communities is everybody is so down. People are not able to think on their feet. So YouTube seems to be a very good one.
That is a very good. That's a very good link to go to, because find out anything you can do. When I was compiling my notes, I looked at things like the things we spend money on, things like gyms. Friends tell me, "Oh, I miss the gym." I said, "How do you miss the gym?" Because there's gym on YouTube. There are people doing free classes. Just get into your room. You do not even need trainers. Just get into your room and start playing about with these people. So there's so many things to learn. Baking is just one of them. There's so many other things, skills that can help you. You can teach yourself slowly. And perfect them for you to be able to earn something from them.
Okay, and just give us a final word
about family finances. I mean, I would only say that it's not going to be easy, but we got to do it, and then you'll be happy you made these changes with your family, and your entire home will be a more happy and calm sanctuary for your family as a whole.
Awesome.
Yeah, but we got to start
that somewhere. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Primrose. That was really, very, very insightful. And yes, like you said, we've got to start somewhere. It's not always going to be easy when you check your, the weight. But I think if we sit down and if we do it as a family, and obviously that openness and transparency. So, thank you so much important for that. And please, if you would, if we do get any questions, we will direct them, to yourself.
Of course, I'm still here.
We always like to give our viewers, any answers to their questions. We really want it to come from the specialists, so it's not just us speculating. Okay. So thank you, Primrose. So everybody, please remember this is an interactive Zoom session. Please feel free to unmute yourselves. And now is the time, because this is our 3rd week. Next week is the final week of financial February. So this is the best time for you to ask your questions. You know, feel free to type it in the chat. If you don't want to speak on camera, we will pick up the questions and ask for you. But please, 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 for those of you, there could be some of you out there that are really going through stuff. You know, just know that, you know, as a community, our role is to offer you guidance, you know, and support and encourage you. And that's why we run these voiceover talk shows. I did not remember to shout out one of our other directors. Sister Adebola is in the house and you kept quiet. Would you like to unmute yourself, please? Sister, are you there?
I'm here.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. You don't want to see me. I'm definitely the house of aura today in terms of my looks. I'm our house of aura. I'm gonna scare a lot of people off. So
okay, please stay behind.
I won't put on my camera.
All right.
But it's nice to be here, and it's nice to know a lot about our finances. Well done for such a good program, and well done for the job that you guys are doing. Yeah, well done. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sis. And thank you, Sister Vivian's in the house. Thank you for always coming on, and you need to leave at 7, that's fine. If there are any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat. And like I said, we'll get to them. Okay, so without much ado, we're going to go over to Sam. But before we do, you know, it's been quite a very deep 2 weeks. And today, you know, you can see the topic. The headline of what we're talking about today is, it's not just, yes, it's finances, don't get me wrong, because that's the theme of the whole of February, but we're talking about properties today. Very interesting, property investment and development, understanding the property wealth system. And at this stage, I need to just be quiet because I don't know anything about properties, and I'm gonna hand over to Sam. So Sam, if you'd like to unmute yourself and take the floor, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Primrose. That was absolutely brilliant. I really enjoyed it. I just I'm glad I've got my headphones in and my children can't hear you say McDonald's once a week, because they might want you to come and adopt them. So I'm thankful for that. But that was absolutely brilliant. Thank you. I'm just going to share my slide. I can't share yet. Okay, if you just give me the capabilities. And for those of you who are here for the first time, thank you for being here. I do think what we're discussing here is vital. It is important. One of the stats, part of my other business, I've got 2 businesses as a financial coach, and I'm also a mental health first aid trainer. And I do train people around suicide to recognize that there's over 17 people taking their own lives on a daily basis. Over 70. Time behind the finance, no, behind the relationship is the finance. Finance is number 1. And I think part of the reason is because we don't talk about it. Okay, we need to talk about it. It doesn't matter where you've come from. It's where you're going that actually counts. Whatever your situation is right now, trust me, we've seen worse. Okay, and things can only get better when we recognize it. We don't procrastinate. Honestly, in my experience of many years of doing this, a lot of people bury their heads in the sand and they don't deal with it. And the longer you leave it, the more you procrastinate, guess what? It's not going to get any better. So I want to encourage you to, you know, great to have you here. And it's good to listen. It's good to hear it. It's good to take notes if you're taking notes. But it's no good if you don't do anything outside of this. All right? Einstein, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So let me encourage you to do something different. You know, ask those questions, pick up the phone, make a call, talk to somebody. Doesn't matter where you are, it can get better. Okay, so am I okay to share? Brilliant, thank you. So We've looked at different things over, this is what we started with. So we talked about building your financial house. We've got your risk management, making sure that you're protected. If anything happens to your family, you know they're well looked after. It was really sad for me last night. I received a text message from a friend of mine and a friend of his in Manchester, who's a nurse. Some of you might have seen that text. He passed away as a nurse, and they've set up a GoFundMe account. He's got a young family. He's passed away as a nurse. He's passed away from COVID. And they're trying to raise money for his family. What good is it to make all this money and you've not protected your family? It's just ridiculous. And I've been doing this a long time. I used to chair the Nigerian community in Leeds, and I did that for many years. And it still saddens me that we have issues like this. It's really important, if you do nothing else, protect your family. The next step is your debt, then your expenses. We've discussed all of those over the last 2 weeks. If you want to see the video, it's on the Saffron website, on the Saffron YouTube page. Go there and check out those the last 2 weeks. But today we're talking about asset management. And really, this is the fourth step. And part of asset management really is getting your money work for you. Now, Robert Kiyosaki, he wrote a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you've not read that book, I want to encourage you to go and Google it, find it online, and read it. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know, Giz, if you want to type that in the chat box just for people to take a note. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. He also wrote another book called The Cash Flow Quadrant. And in that book, he said, we go to school to learn how to work for money. We don't learn how to get money working for us. So the question to you is this: is your money working for you, or is it working for somebody else? Part of managing your assets is getting your money working for you. So Gil said we're going to talk about property. We will talk about property a little bit, not a lot, but we will cover it a bit. So do you rent or do you buy? I see people all the time. And again, knowledge is key. You know, they say knowledge is power or something like that. I believe the application of the knowledge is the power. Okay, you can have all the knowledge in the world and not do anything with it. So there's different things you could do. So if you have a mortgage, you could buy a mortgage where it's a repayment option. And the repayment option basically means you've got the mortgage, you've got it for 25 years, you're paying it off slowly every month, and then after 25 years, the property is yours. You can do what you want with it. Fantastic. You can rent. You never own the property, but there's no responsibility. So the landlord takes care of all the repairs. Now, when it's repayment, you have to look after all the repairs. You have to take care of it, make sure, you know, everything is sorted. But then you've also got interest only, where you never own the property, but you're responsible for all the work that gets done. One of the saddest things that I find in our business, in my business that I do, is I sit down with families, and this has happened over the years. And just one example is somebody I know. He bought his house about 25 years ago for about £20,000 in Leeds. Okay, 25,000 pounds, we'll say, about 25 years ago. But he bought it on interest only, which meant for the last 25 years, he's only been paying the interest on the property. He's not paid the capital. Now, because we don't get any education, this gentleman has actually, whenever the value of his property has gone up, he's gone to the bank and done a remortgage and taken out the money out of it. So now, 25 years later, his house is valued at about £160,000. but he owes about 150,000 on it, which means he now needs to think about selling that house if he can get the value and give all that money to the bank, and he's homeless. Again, he never got that education. He never got that learning. And that's really what we're talking about. Do you rent? Do you buy? What do you do when you get a mortgage? Now, there's different pros and cons to buying property. In my opinion, property is the ultimate way, okay? The more you can own, the more you can invest in, the better. The value always goes up. But actually, I shouldn't say that. The value goes up based on where the property is. You know, I've sat down with families where they bought their property, is interest only, or it's even repayment, and the value has actually gone down because the places around them have gone into disrepute. They've built something around the corner, which has brought down the price of the area, but it doesn't happen that often. So more often than not, if you have a mortgage, if you have a property, the values are likely to go up. It can't provide you with an income. So if you have a property where you're paying a mortgage of £400 and you're renting it out at £600, you're earning a net income of £200. So really, if you have about 5 of those and you're collecting £200 a month, you can be comfortable. You can live comfortably on that. You know, more would be nice. But if you have 5, 6 properties and you're collecting 200 quid from each of them, that is something. And then it's a proven investment. You know, when you have a mortgage, when you have properties, it's a proven system. Now, some of the challenges which they don't tell you is that it takes time to grow. It doesn't just happen straight away. A lot of people think, you know, I'll buy a property today and I'll start making money tomorrow. Doesn't happen. Tenancy issues. If you have tenants in there that don't pay their rent, you're snookered. Where in the UK, you can't just go in there and kick them out. You've got to give them time to leave of their own violation, or whatever the word is. They've got to leave themselves. And then if you need to go to court and get to kick them out, that cost comes to you because most of the time they say they're only earning £2 a week. You get me? So there are some certain challenges that you will come across when it comes to having property. Not always easy to release the equity. Again, you're responsible for maintaining the property and you need a deposit. And this is one of the biggest issues for many people, finding a deposit for that first home. So those are some of the pros and the cons. For me, I love property. I think it's a great place to be. If you can, fantastic. Now, other things to consider really is, for those of you who have a mortgage, this is something that we teach our clients and we call it, you know, mortgage acceleration. So if I was to ask you, how many months are there in a year? Because, you know, I'm happy to unmute yourself and tell me, how many months do we have in a year? Anybody?
12.
12? Fantastic. Nice one, Giz. 12 months. That's brilliant. How many weeks are there in a month?
4 weeks.
4. Fantastic. Thank you. So 4 weeks. All right. Now, when you multiply 12 by 4, you've got 48 weeks. How many weeks do we have in a year?
52.
52.
So that makes it 13 months in a year.
Thank you very much, Sister Victoria. I think you know exactly where I'm going with this. You might have seen this before, but a lot of people have their mortgage. How often do they pay their mortgage? Anybody? How often do people pay their mortgage?
Monthly, isn't it?
Monthly. I know you're thinking, yeah, I know you're thinking, why is he asking us these really stupid questions? Don't worry, I'm landing. Now, people pay their mortgage once a month, every month, which means they're paying 12 payments in a month, in a year. Sorry. So if you look at this example I've got on here, the person on the left, they're paying their mortgage every month. The person on the right, they're paying the same mortgage every 2 weeks. We call this the fortnightly repayment option. All right. So let's say your mortgage is £1,000 a month. The person on the left is paying £1,000 a month. They pay 12,000 in the year. The person on the right, they're paying 500 every 2 weeks. Okay. So the 14th, they pay 500. 14 days later, they pay 500. They're still paying 1,000 in a month. What you find is the person on the right, they're actually making 13 payments, like Sister Victoria said, in the year. So they're actually paying £13,000 in the year. You see this? That will save you between 5 and 7 years on your mortgage. 2 reasons. One, you're overpaying by a month every year. And secondly, what happens with most mortgages is that your interest is calculated on a daily basis. Daily basis, then at the end of the month, they add it to your mortgage and then you pay your mortgage. When you pay in the first 2 weeks, most of that is going towards your capital. So that when they calculate your interest at the end of the month, they're calculating it on less money, which means you're shaving off a lot on the interest as well. Now, how many of you have a mortgage? I can't see people, so I don't know. Or, you know, if you do have a mortgage, do you think this could help you reduce your mortgage if you know how to get it working for you? Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, paying, you know, again, this is a simple technique that we teach people, paying exactly what you're paying now, but you do it differently. You save yourself between 5 and 7 years on your mortgage. In this example, you're saving £52,000. Do you think the banks should be teaching us about this stuff or not? They should be teaching us, shouldn't they? So why are they not telling us? Because that £52,000, guess what? Is somebody's bonus. Okay? Is somebody's bonus. So why would they teach you about these things? It's a bit like the rule of 72. For those of you that remember the rule of 72, they give you £40,000 and they keep £2.52 million for themselves. The bank is a business. They're not your friend. For those of you that love your bank, they're a business. Okay, and so really that's how they treat your money. They use your money for themselves, not for you. So that's really talking about mortgages. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about really is talking about funds. A lot of people have asked me about investment and where to invest and how to invest. And unfortunately, we don't give investment advice, mainly because we're all different. Okay. One of the things we do in our company is we actually get you to complete a questionnaire. And the questionnaire kind of looks at, it checks your attitude to risk. And based on your responses, the insurance company we work with can guide you towards a certain insurance, a certain investment. So if your attitude to risk is high, they'll point you towards investments that will yield you 8, 9, 12%. If your attitude to risk is medium, then we're looking at 3, 4%. If your attitude is low, stick your money in the bank, leave it there. But one of the things we talk about is having funds, having an investment fund. And an investment fund really is different from having a direct share in a company. As an investment fund, you pool your money together with other people and you buy shares out of that. And what generally happens is this, you know, which of these would you prefer? Would you prefer to be on the left or on the right? I know for me, I would prefer to be on the right, where they say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You know, if I had a parachute and I was coming down on that parachute, I know even if one of those strings break up, the rest would hold me up. And so really, this is one of the differences when it comes to investment, when it comes to shares and funds. My advice, my encouragement to you is to find an expert, do some research, and know where you want to go to. It's really difficult to say invest in this and invest in that. We don't do that, because if things don't go as well as you want to, then it falls back on us. If you want to discuss this further, I'm happy to answer questions later on. Something else we talk about really is when it comes to high cost of waiting. Now, this is somebody here who's investing £100 a month at 70% up to the age of 65. At the age of 25, by the time they get to 65, they would have £264,000 in that account. Now, see what happens when they wait 1 year. Just waiting 1 year, they lose £18,000. Now, waiting 5 years, they lose £82,000. And as you can see there, the longer you wait, the longer you procrastinate. And like I said this before, procrastination is one of the biggest challenges we all have. And the more you procrastinate, the more you leave it to do it. Look at how much you're going to lose by the age of 40. £182,000, just because you didn't make that decision early enough. For those of us who have children, I went through the 10, 10, 10, 70 last time, okay? 10, 10, 10, 70, please, 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 I encourage you, get your children doing that now. If they can start doing it from the age of 10, whereby they know any money they earn, they put 10% away, they bless others with 10%, they invest 10%, and they can spend 70. Let them get into the habit of that. Okay, that's the 10, 10, 10, 70 strategy. If you want to know what that is, if you've not heard me say it before, go and watch the previous videos. It's on the YouTube page. But do not wait. If you can, start it now. I hope that's really helpful to people. And something else just to think about really is looking at those things. So we've looked at looking at your assets. There's not a lot to cover on that, mainly because a lot of us, we don't have a lot of assets, okay? And again, like I said, I sit down with families, especially our people, we haven't got a lot to work with. And I think the next thing really to look at, the next natural progression is looking at your income. How much income are you earning? You want a property. How do you get on the property ladder? You want to invest. How do you get into investment? Guess what? You need cash. You need money. We spoke a couple of weeks ago about multiple streams of income. We spoke about increasing your net worth. The ways you can do that, relying on just the one job, is not enough anymore. Those days have gone. It's history. You can't rely on the one job because people are losing jobs left, right, and center, okay? So income management, you need ways to earn an additional income. And there's this thing on there that says, if you don't build your own dreams, someone is employing you to build theirs. You can see that diagram on the right-hand side where it talks about, what is your passion? What do people need? Find something that people need, and guess what? They'll pay you for it. Most of you I know are sitting down right now. The chair came into being because some smart person saw people standing around. And he or she said, wow, let's make a chair. And now we're all buying chairs and sitting down on it. Find something that people need. Find something you're passionate about and see if you can make something from that. You can work your job 9 to 5 and start building your wealth, because that is what is going to pay you out. A job really, for me, they pay us enough to keep us coming back. And a lot of the time, we just do enough not to get sacked. Why can't you start investing in your own dreams? So on the left-hand side, it talks about getting more, getting educated, starting a side business, moving towards your passion. Now, how do you move towards your passion? You need to learn to maximize your income. Remember, you're always building a business, always. Whatever it is you're doing now, you're building a business. Now, the question is, whose business are you building? Yeah, John Rockefeller said, I would rather earn 1% of 100 people's effort than earn 100% of my own efforts. And what he's talking about there is making money while you sleep. Okay, and Warren Buffett said, if you don't learn how to make money while you sleep, you're going to work for other people the rest of your life. So are you developing a business whereby you can get to do that? Because if you think about this, this is the stat that is true, okay? Out of 100 people reaching retirement, which is 68, okay? In the UK right now, out of 100 people, one is wealthy. So let's say 100 people got to 68 today and they're retiring. One of them will be wealthy, 4 financially independent, 41 still working, and 54 are broke. 54 are going to the post office every week to collect 120 pounds or whatever the pension is. Okay, so out of 100 people, only 95%, only 95 are financially okay at the age of 68, at retirement age. The question I want to ask you is this: which category will you fall into if you change nothing? If you keep doing what you're doing now, will you be in the top 2 or the bottom 2? Remember, if what you're doing now is not working, and I know, you know, Primrose mentioned it earlier, it takes planning, it takes effort. Nothing happens by chance. It does not happen by chance. You know, so where will you like to be? If I was to ask everybody in this room right now, there's 13 people on Zoom. I don't know how many people on Facebook. Everybody, 13 of us on Zoom will say we want to be in the top 2. As you can see, only 5% of us will be there. Are you going to be one of those 5%? If you want to be, you've got to make some changes. That's just the way it goes. You have to. Okay, so if you look at the 95% that fell into the broke or still working, most of them did not plan to fail. They just failed to plan. Yeah, and for me, it's really sad because when I came to the UK, retirement age was 60, and then it went up to 63, and then 65. It's now 68. Okay, and I've already heard it, you know, I used to work for the Department of Health, and there were papers going around then that is going to go up to 70. My wife has a colleague who's 72. They've only just let him leave. He's had to leave now because of COVID. So he's actually retired by force. Okay, some banks are now giving mortgages up to the age of 80. How are you going to keep up the mortgage payment? They expect you to work because apparently we're living longer. Okay, you need to grab this by the horn and you need to deal with it now because it's not going to get any easier. And yes, we pray, we love to pray. That is not going to work by itself. You need to back it up with some action. I'm a Christian, I love the Lord, it's all good, but you need to back it up with some action as well, okay? It's not going to happen by chance. If you look at successful people, there's a clue. You know, it was interesting to hear what Primrose was saying because exactly what she was saying was what I was saying, and she wasn't here. I don't know Primrose. Majority of what I said over the last 2 weeks is exactly what she said, because success leaves clues. If you look at all the successful people, there's the same thing. There's a thread going through it. I heard somebody say, if you want to be good at something, find an expert and do exactly what they tell you to do. And that's really what this is all about. You know, the reason this event has been organized is to help people to be able to be financially stable, because a lot of us aren't. So follow successful people. Remember, 95% of people will not be able to retire. So the 5%, what do they do differently? Why? They haven't got 2 heads or 3 heads. They've got 1 head like everybody else. What do they do? Education. Okay? And that's what we do as a company. We educate families. All right? Now, our mission is to teach people how money works. That's what we do as a company, how to work their money, how to make more money, how to become debt-free and financially independent. Do you think you can be financially independent? If you believe it, let me see you put your hand up. Really financially independent. There's a few people, yeah. A lot of us, yeah, I can see that gaze, I see the saffron, sorry, Yemi. A lot of people can't confidently put their hand up to say that because they don't believe it's possible. I want to tell you it's possible. You can do it. It's not going to be easy, but you can do it. And what we do, we empower families for the future. You know, they say, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, teach him how to fish, and you feed him for life. That's what we do as a company. We teach you how to catch the fish through education. And this is one of the things we provide. We give you a plan. So if you look at this plan on here, this is one of the plans that we provided for one of our clients. You can see on here that they have a debt total of £203,000. If they keep doing what they're doing now, they'll finish off these debts in January 2033. They will have paid a total interest of £152,000. That is where they are right now. When we gave them the plan, just by adding £50, if you think about what Primrose said earlier, she was buying coffee, spending £70 a month. Interestingly, this person that we were able to help, they were going to work and buying lunch, spending about £5 a day. Okay, 5 times 4 is 20. So yeah, it's about £80 a month, basically. We said, okay, why don't you put £50 towards your debt? And just by adding £50 to the debt, and we teach you something called debt stacking. Debt stacking is basically putting your highest interest rate on top, paying that off, and then lumping it onto the next one, and lumping and lumping and lumping. And this person, just by doing debt stacking and adding £150 to their payment, they're debt-free in 2023. That's 10 years earlier. Now, that's really good, but more importantly is that they save £55,000. That could be you. That could be you. Whether you have debts, whatever debt it may be, that works for your mortgage. As you can see, that is part of their mortgage. They're now mortgage-free 10 years earlier. And it's possible. But guess what it takes? It takes making a decision. It takes making, okay, let me make that phone call. Let me send that email. Let me sit down and actually deal with this, because it's not just going to go away. We're going to look back 10 years from today, and I promise you, you'll most likely still be in the same place. There are lots of people 10 years ago when I came on this journey that I tried to bring along with me, and they were too busy with their jobs. They're still working the same job. And they not had a promotion. They've been furloughed. So if you need to make a change, you need to make that step and make a decision, basically. So do you have any goals? Are your goals written down? I'm going to go back to where I started, because I think the most important part of what you can do is have some goals. What do you want? Where do you want to be 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now? Would you like to be a millionaire? Do you say it out loud? Would you like to be mortgage free? Would you like your children to, what do you want? Write it out, put some things on the board. I've got a dream board. I've got a dream board on my laptop. I look at my dream board every day. I've got it on my phone. I look at it every single day. Whatever it is you want, it can be yours. It could be a house, it could be a car, financial freedom. It can be yours, but doing what you're doing now is unrealistic. And don't dream small. You need to dream big. Your dreams, your goals should scare you. It should make you cry. Okay? Those are goals that you think, oh, this is almost impossible, but it's possible because I'm going to make it happen. A lot of us think small, think big, and then think about what you're doing now. Are your goals realistic? If it's not, time to do something about it. Okay? And then once you've got your goal, have you got a strategy? I know for some people, this is like deja vu, but I think it's really important to go back to your goals. That's where everything starts from. Okay? Everything starts with a clear, concise mental picture. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Where do you want to be? What strategy are you going to do or use to achieve that goal? Okay, are you going to change jobs? Are you going to find a side hustle? Are you going to start investing? Are you going to make a decision? Okay, that is the strategy. And then your goal really is, again, I'm going to go back to it, should be something that fires you up. It should be something that gets your blood pumping. That it doesn't matter how many disappointments you get. It doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down. Guess what? I get knocked down, I get up again. Just get up and keep going, because that is your goal and you've got a burning desire around it. I know I sing as well, but not too much because I scare people when I do that. But you know, does your goal really get you fired up? And you know, if you're fired up about your goal, let's put a plan together. That is what we do as a company, and it's completely free. We do not charge you for it. Okay, it's a free plan. And you know, if you're interested in finding out more, either helping others and increasing your income, again, we're talking about multiple streams of income. There are loads and loads of opportunities out there. Talk to some of the people in the room, put it out on YouTube. You're looking for extra income. Talk to people who are doing it, find out what they do. Remember, find an expert, do exactly what they tell you to do. Can you find somebody who can teach you? I've got a book that we teach from our company. It's a financial freedom book. It's got 10 principles in it that we give to people that actually get the financial plan or that actually sit down to have a plan. I can give that to people if you want it. Again, I will put my information in the chat box. Please contact me, send me an email. Oh, I just nearly mashed up my stand. That's my information in there. There's a feedback form. I really appreciate your feedback. Just know I know how to change this. I do this quite regularly, but I'm always looking for ways to improve it. Maybe I talk too much or my singing is annoying, then just let me know. But yeah, please complete the feedback form. I would really appreciate that. And let me see, is there anything else? Oops, going back the other way. Yeah, so take action, set your financial goals, write them down. Very important that you write them down. Better still, if you can get pictures, okay? And then read them every morning, read them every evening, make it real, okay? Find a strategy. It takes discipline, but it's worth it, and continue to build your desire as well. You can make it happen. You're responsible. Okay. Do you have a written plan? If you don't have one, like I said, I can hook you up with one for free. We don't charge for it. Okay. All it takes is about 45 minutes of your time, and we sit down and we get that going. But that's me there. There's nothing else to cover. Happy to take some questions. I know there's been some stuff in the chat box. Sorry, I've not been able to look at it. So let me take off my screen so we can ask questions.
I've been following the chat box. It's mostly people just saying nice presentation. But if there are any questions, if anybody does have any questions for Sam, please feel free to unmute yourselves. You can ask openly, or you can drop it in the chat. And if you have any questions from Facebook, please feel free to drop it in the Facebook chat, and we will direct those questions at Sam. Sam, it's been amazing. It's been a good 3 weeks. We've learned so much. But your
it was only supposed to be 1 week.
I know. Tell me about it. But you see, that's just that should tell you that this is what the community really needs.
Oh yes.
It's something that is it's for everybody, and we're talking of the youth. What I haven't heard much of is financial opportunities for the young people. And it's important. And the reason I say this is, there are quite a lot of them, obviously, who are stuck at home now. And this is a good time as any for them to get out there and work, pandemic or no pandemic. Because I think the what we're trying to say is be as safe as possible, but let's not allow the world to just stop. And when we're looking at their mental health. So what advice can you give? Or no, we're not giving advice today, but what information can you give us for the young ones? So, I know you've talked about, or no, it was Primrose who said about, going on YouTube. But from a financial perspective, throw something out there for the youth. Some of them are already doing things online. They're making their little trainers and give them something so that this money that they're making, putting it in the bank for the bank to get rich while they don't get rich is not always going to be an amazing idea. So throw something at them, what they can do with that money. And I'm talking of our youngsters, our young people.
Again, what I said earlier was, for me, the key to acquiring wealth is investing, but also trying to get your money working for you. The 10-10-10-70 saving is important, but for young people, again, I see a lot of them, they do their YouTube videos and they post it out and they do reviews, and which is absolutely brilliant. I met a young man recently online who's just started his own skin products from his mom's kitchen. And I think he's actually been signed up by some big organization in Leeds. He's actually from Leeds. And so there are lots of them, but there are lots of things that you can do depending on the age. If you're over 18, 19, there's no reason why you can't sign up to a business that is already going. There are lots of businesses out there. And because you're young doesn't mean you can't do it. Okay, you can leverage on your parents and their contacts and start a business. Start a business that is already established, that you can sign up to, and you can start earning a few quid and make sure that you're saving. But for me, it just takes drive. It takes drive, it takes a desire, it takes them listening to what we're saying. Because I bet you now, all of us in this room wish we knew some of this stuff that we're teaching now 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I wish I knew this 20 years ago. I wouldn't be here. I'd be sunning myself in the Caribbean as we speak. So I wish I knew this 20 years ago. And when we're telling you and when we're teaching them, they just need to see it. They need to see people who are doing it and learning from them. That's all I can really share right now. Save, invest, and get some help.
I have a question. Somebody that they don't want to come out, so I will ask it for them. Now, this person has an interest-only mortgage. The bank has told the person that if they, because there have been a few arrears, etc., etc. Now, the bank has said to the person, if they stay arrears-free for 6 months, they can then change it to a repayment mortgage. This person is asking, is that a good idea? Now, you don't have to answer. If they need to go and seek financial advice, please, that's fine. But if you have anything you can throw at them, that would be good as well.
It's always good to get repayment.
Right.
Interest only is it's almost as bad as endowments years ago, where they sold it to people and there was nothing in it. It's worse than PPI.
Right.
You know, if it's repayment, it's better, in my opinion.
That's
interest only, you're just paying the interest. What's the use of that? It's not yours at the end of the term. If you can, change it to repayment. If the risk of arrears is still there, then because it's a risk every single month. You know, I saw somebody today, I did a plan for him, and his net worth is minus £600 every month. So when he got paid and he paid out his expenses, he was still owing £600. Now, I was able to put a plan together for him to help him to be able to reduce that and get it better over time. So if that is you, let's have a sit down and let's have a chat and start off with a plan. Have a plan of where you want to be and then make it happen.
awesome. Okay. Thank you so much. Yemi, you had your hand up.
Yes, I was just, can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. When you said that, I was also thinking, because I know it had worked well for someone who had a plan, that when they had a minus in their income and they took instead of taking a mortgage payment break, they changed to interest only for a period of months. And I'm not going to mention the months, so you don't know, but they changed for a period of months so that within those months they were able to then come back into the blue as opposed to being in the red, and then they went back into repayment. Isn't that a viable option, so you're not falling off the rails? Because coming off the repayment,
I think the interest, sorry.
Because coming off the repayment gave them a cover for their deficit. So, and for that time, and they were able to catch up with their basic bills and everything else, and then revert back to repayment.
Yeah, sorry, I interrupted there. I think because of your internet, I thought you stopped talking, so I apologize. Yeah, I mean, the reason people use interest only is because it's cheaper. You know, you can pay £200 a month because you're only paying the interest, whereby repayment, it could be £600 a month. So yeah, it's great. However, it's just the long run, it's not great. So yeah, you can do that as well. And if it helps, as long as everybody's case is different, you know, everybody's issue is different. You know, if you just need that little buffer, that's fine. You know, some people, I suggest they consolidate. So if you have several debts, can you consolidate with one organization? Now, the problem with consolidation is nobody likes to take on anybody else's debt. So it's really important when you try to consolidate, what's your credit score like? You know, have you had defaults? Have you had challenges? Then it's difficult to consolidate. Well, if your credit history is clean, then you're more likely to be able to consolidate your debt and pay it off quicker. So there are lots of different ways, but it depends on each individual person, which is why I say you need to have your own strategy. You need to have your own plan. I'm always going to go back to the plan because that's really where it starts. Having a plan. It's like a sat nav. You know, you stick it in the sat nav and it takes you to where you want to be. That's what the plan is. Okay, does that help?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, that's amazing, Sam. Thank you so much. So yeah, wow. It's sometimes, you know, when we talk about finances, it's not very it's interesting, but it's not, it leaves you a bit squirmish, you know.
It's not sexy.
It's not at all.
Yeah.
Now it's not, but in the long run, if the advice is heeded to, it becomes very sexy. So this is what we're hoping, that everybody that is listening, like Sam said, don't just sit on the Zoom and agree to everything and go home and do nothing about it. It's very important that you do, especially in these hard times. And I don't think it's going to get better, you know, soon. I know that sounds very pessimistic, but it's just it's the reality. So I think, you know, please, if you're out there and things aren't looking amazing, I'm hoping that some of the things that have been shared over the past 3 weeks will be of use to you within the community. And please feel free to reach out to Saffron if you remember something and you need to get some more information. Throw it at us and we will reach out to Sam or Primrose rather, and get your questions answered. Okay, it's very important that you speak to the right people and not each other, because you guys are not adverse. You're not trained in this. They are. Okay. So yes, yeah, brilliant, Sam. So I guess that is that wraps up the 4th level of the house building, right?
Well, that's 4 and 5.
Was that 4 and 5?
That was 4 and 5.
Really?
So, I mean, what I was thinking of is next week, maybe we could look at wills and trust, or look at something else. We can have a discussion around that. Because again, that's something a lot of us don't do. We don't have a will.
Yes.
And almost every day I hear of people fighting over something.
Yeah.
So that is something we could talk about next week.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
Wills is, I think, especially this period where you know, people are losing loved ones. You know, I think a lot of people would like to be pushed in the direction of what is possible, what is obtainable, what is not obtainable. So yes, you've heard that, guys. Next week we'll be looking at wills and trusts, and possibly estates, probate, everything in that pot. Yeah. Okay, Sam, that's really amazing. You want to come in?
Yeah,
here?
sorry, jumping in before, because I'm seeing that Sam's got itchy feet.
Yes.
And he's
No, that's fine. Go for it.
Okay. See, because I'm really always very focused on policies and seeing how they work, if they work for us, and if they're not working, what then do we do? How do we get them working for us? Because they can work if we know how to use them, and they're put in there to help us. So looking at policies that are focused around housing, around buying and selling property, around acquiring property. Obviously, we had Margaret Thatcher, bless her soul, who came up with the buy to buy.
Right to
No,
No,
right
she,
to
no,
buy.
right to buy. She came up
Right
with
to
the
buy.
right to buy,
Yeah.
right to buy policies, which I would say was really very good for some people, wasn't the best for local authorities. And I think there was a lot of mismanagement. So I won't go into that because it's a very interesting topic for me. But can we look at policies geared around supporting people in becoming investors, owning property, and also look at supporting some people? Giz and I were talking about getting a group of people together who want to work on their finances and hopefully in the next between 12 and 18 months actually buy their own property. We've had about 5 people who've come and we're thinking, okay, maybe we could put something together, work with this group of people, and then be able to come back, because there's no point having these things, these programs, and not being able to evaluate their effect, or what good came out of it. There's no good talking and talking and not getting returns on it. And I suppose as a finance person, you're always looking at returns. I am.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we want to see returns back on the 4 weeks that we've invested. So anyone looking to really focus on buying a property, be it business, be it personal, should just give us a call. You have our details, and we're putting together a group. We have 4 people already, between 6 and 10. But as soon as we have enough numbers, we will start that. If you're interested, holla. Right. My question,
Yeah.
policies. I'll leave that to you.
I'm not really sure. I don't understand the question. I mean, you mentioned right to buy. And when I sit down with clients, I always say, if you live in a council property, buy it. It's a no-brainer.
I agree.
It's a no-brainer. You've got a discount. Some people have 70% discount up front.
Yeah.
And when they come and value it, they actually undervalue it. So it's probably more than 70. It's usually 85%. And all you need to do is stay there for 5 years, and you can do what you want. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. If you live in a council flat, a council house, buy it.
Yeah.
That's the only one I can speak on. I'm not sure any other policies that you've mentioned, but every time I see somebody and they live in a council flat, I just tell them, just get it.
Yeah.
And it's mainly our people that live in those places. So why not? That's your first step into the ladder. And even if it's a flat and you're never going to, they only sell it to you for 99 years because it's not landed property. But you're not going to be here. But at least you're leaving your children with some assets which they can rent out and live somewhere else. And if they're renting it out at £500 and it's already yours because you've bought it, that's £500 in their pocket.
Yeah.
You're not, well, by God's grace, well, if you're here 99 years from now, well done to you. But you're not going to be, but your children will be. So it's a no-brainer. If you cancel, buy it. That's the only thing I can share on that. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you. So council tenants, you heard that. If you're in the council, if you're in a council property and you've stayed there for more than 5 years, you are entitled to a discount. So, there's no better time than now, to be honest. There's no better time than now. Yeah, so thank you so much for that, Sam. It's been really, really amazing. And when you started off your presentation, you said you mentioned that 17 people commit suicide every day, and it's in relation to finances. Is that correct?
A lot of it is, yes, relationship and finance.
Relationship and finance. Okay, and I would think that the relationship breakdown would also be as a result of the finance. Of the finances, yes. Yeah. Yes. I think when we had our relationship talk over in January, that came out as one of the highest issues between couples, and it was about finances. And what would you say? What is it? Is because we're not, like you said, we don't talk to each other about how each other's finances are. Also, another very poignant question is, as a couple, do you advise joint ownership in properties, in bank accounts, credit cards? And the reason I'm asking this is, God forbid, if things went south, because sometimes they do, the implication on both, you've got to start with a financial order and da-da-da-da-da-da. So what kind of advice would you give? Or I keep saying advice, but I realize you're not financially advising. What kind of guidance? Yes, what guidance would you give to people, couples, whether you're married or whether you're just in a partnership, about finances and tying yourselves together financially?
Okay. Again, you know, when I do my, after I've been doing my business a long time, I often find myself being a marriage counselor.
Mm-hmm.
And actually from that, my wife and I, we've started like a marriage session.
Okay.
Once a month, where we get with married couples and we just talk about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And based on just my discussions and my, you know, when you're sitting across people,
Mm-hmm.
and the body language tells you a lot when it comes to their money. And it's usually your money, my money.
My money, yeah.
I would never say this is what's good for your family.
Right.
I can't say that because we're all completely different. But one thing that my wife and I, we've got a joint account. She knows what comes in. I know what comes in. We both have that. She knows my password. When I go to the bank, when we go shopping, I give her my card and I walk around. And if it's the other way around, she gives me her card and so I know her PIN. She knows my PIN. Our account is joint in every way. But I know that does not work for some people.
Yeah.
But I think for me, trust and honesty is important in a relationship.
Yeah.
I see couples where, and again, when I talk to people, I say, okay, let's be open. Let's put all our finances together.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it comes out, the wife has 3-4 credit cards the husband doesn't know about. The husband has 3-4 credit cards the wife doesn't know about. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Let's get it all on the table. The key is let's work with it. Okay, yes. Honesty, doesn't matter what you've done, it doesn't matter how much you spend, what you've hidden from each other. That's history. Let's sit down and let's sort it out. So I can't say this is the right way. When it comes to property, again, I think it should be 50-50.
Yes.
But in some families, again, the couple I spoke to today, the wife was the first person in the council property and it was only her name on the property. So when they bought it, it was bought in her name.
Oh.
So there's also things. So again, that's why I said it's different for different families. You can't, one cap does not fit everybody.
No.
But the idea really is to come to a point where if things do go belly up, which it does, that's life. It's important that, again, I've come across so many situations. It's just ridiculous, where the men just run away with all the money and they leave the women in a bit of mess. And, you know, I'll be honest, I've seen that more in my Nigerian people than in any other tribes that I've dealt with. And it just saddens me a lot of the time, but it does happen. So if you don't think your money is safe, have your own account. And something I see that works very well is having a joint account where both your money goes into for the bills. Because this day and age, man, woman, we work the same hours, maybe long hours sometimes. Have a joint account so you know both of you at the end of the month, you're both putting £500 in that account. There's £1,000 in there. All your bills come out of that. Mm-hmm. Your mortgage, your gas, your electricity, everything comes out of that account. If there's anything else that needs to be agreed, it could be the children's football or ballet, or you can agree to do that. I'll sort out the boys swimming, you know, I'll sort out the football or whatever it is. But I think it's important to have an agreement when it comes to money and to talk about it openly, because money is a dirty word in a lot of places.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be, because we all need it. We all need money. We're all here now because we have money. You have a phone, you have a laptop. You need money.
Yeah.
We need to discuss it.
Okay.
So the one that works most, which I see a lot, and I do talk to families about, is having a joint account. I have yours, I have mine, but we have a joint where all the bills come out from. That way, nobody's going to run away with your money, but there's still trust.
Brilliant.
Sort of.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, that's good. So you've given us some amazing guidance. So it's, I guess, like you said, it's, you know, we're all different. So it's about what works for that home.
Everybody, yeah. You've muted yourself.
Yes, I did. I thought I was muting you, sorry. Thank you so much for that, Sam. Yeah, wow, that was amazing. So that's another session, guys. And like Yemi did say, we are actually forming a group, which we were going to send out some more information. We are a can-do organization. There is nothing that is impossible once you set your mind to it. So what we want to do with you as an organization, remember we said when we're coming out big, we're coming out into the community, into the African and the Caribbean community. All of us need to own our homes. All of us need to be debt free. You understand? All of us, and I love what you said earlier, Sam. You said, don't be afraid to aim big. That is a major problem we have in our community. We settle for crumbs and peanuts. No more, guys. Aim as high as you can. Yesterday, I was going through universities with my daughter, and I looked and I said, right, babes, Cambridge. And she looked at me like, Mom, you're mad. And I said, no, I'm not. You know, yeah. I said, put it down. She said, Mom, but they want 3 A's. I said, we'll get the 3 A's. You know, this is the kind of talk we need to be having in our community. So based on that premise, we are going to have, we're forming the group. We will make it has to be smart. So when we set the goals, they will be realistic. Yeah. So nobody's going to buy a house in a month, because then you'll have to explain to the tax man. It's going to be very realistic, but we will get out some more information as the time goes. So if you are interested, you know, please pop you've got most of our handles. We will still pop it in the chat, reach out so that you can join the group, because obviously we will have people like Sam, we'll have people like Primrose that we can reach out to as well. But Saffron, this is one of the initiatives we are definitely following through, and that was why we brought out Financial February. And it was this brainstorming myself, Yemi, and a few of us had, and we knew we needed to bring it out into the community. And in saying that, just to let you know, just before we close, I want to announce, yes, I'm really excited about this because this has been long coming. It's been a lot of hard work. We know that our community have various challenges when it comes to immigration. And like we said, as an organization, we are here to bridge the gap in our community. And as a result of that, we will be starting our first, it's between the Saffron SACAP and the Home Office, the UK Immigration Office. And it's the Home Office Immigration Engagement One-to-One Hub. That was a mouthful. It's the Home Office Immigration Engagement One-to-One Hub. And what that basically means is you will get one-to-one, you will be able to sit down with one of the officers and discuss your immigration issues, okay? Please, 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 I'm gonna see, Yem, if you're able to put the registration form, are you able to type it in the chat?
I'll drop it in our group. Somebody can drop it in the chat, but I'll put it on
group.
Facebook.
We'll drop it out to Facebook. If you know anybody, or if it's you as an individual, no matter whether it's to do with immigration, whether it's to do with Brexit, whether it's to do with Windrush, whatever, we are helping you with the Home Office and the UK Home Office engagement team. Please, guys, tell one, tell all. Stop speaking to each other and giving each other the wrong information. We've managed, it's been hard work, but we did say that we're here for you and we have worked this for you. So please, 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 starting on Saturday from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m., please register so you can get a slot. If you are unable to make this week Saturday, please don't worry about it. It is every third Saturday of the month, ongoing, okay? So please tell one, tell all, and let's help each other. You know, we don't want to be walking around the UK or Scotland or Wales or anywhere, you know, looking over our shoulder. Okay. If you've decided to make this country home, no matter how temporary or, you know, permanent, then make it home. Yeah. Okay. And just before I hand over to you, Yemi, I also want to announce that Saffron, our SDGF handle, which is Saffron Development Global Foundation, which is the Nigerian arm of Saffron, will be launching our voiceover talk show. So you're going to get to see the Nigerian voiceover talk show on Thursday. This coming Thursday, Yemi?
We start next week, Thursday.
Oh, next
Thursday's
week. Okay.
tomorrow, so it's not tomorrow.
No, it's next week, next week, Thursday at 7 p.m. Nigeria's time, which is UK's 6 p.m. So our Nigerian audience, we got a lot of you on Facebook, much love, sign into that, and we will be addressing your local community issues, challenges, and helping you the same way we help them over in the UK. We've decided it's a must we do it in motherland. So please, you know, tell one, tell all. We'll share on our social media handles, and let's help each other, guys. Hashtag together we can. Okay, all right. Go ahead, Yemi.
Can I just say something before I drop off? Go on, Marcia.
I was just reminding our audience, Facebook and wherever, in the group, in the chat, there's some details from the short survey from Sam. He would kindly like you to complete it. It goes directly to Sam. It doesn't come to Saffron. So just to show, you know, what you learned and if you enjoyed it and if you need further information. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you, Marcia. Thanks for that. Okay.
Okay.
Right, Sam, did you need to say anything?
Yeah, you're completing. You're going to end the program. Me? No.
Yes, I will.
I just have something to say about the immigration hub. Please, there is a questionnaire and a registration, and it's very important that you fill in the registration, but also the questionnaire, because the Home Office team are coming together to support to work in there. And if we get your questions or your inquiries ahead, then we can get the right people to come on the day, because we don't want to get the whole team in. But if depending on what your question, if it's on Brexit, then we get a Brexit officer to come in. If it's on domestic violence and all other issues around and Windrush, so we get the right people to come in. Please fill in the form. There are no incriminating questions. There are no trick questions on there. We haven't asked for details that you probably would not want to put in. And you can generally just anonymously ask your questions. But it's important that you take the opportunity to, it's not every day that we get this chance. So let's use it. Spread the good news. Thank you.
Brilliant, Yemi. Thank you so much for that. And yes, please, guys, you know, jump on that train. Let's see how we can help you. And I'm sure we will be able to help you. So please spread the word. We start live this week, Saturday, the 20th of February, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. As Yemi said, please, if you do, fill in your details on time so that we can get you signposted to the right engagement officer. All right. And on that note, with 5 minutes to go, we've done well this week. I want to first of all say thank you to you, Sam. Primrose has had to go off, so we thank you, Primrose. She's had to go for another meeting. Sam, you've been amazing as always. Honestly,
thank you.
Yeah, you've done a lot for me personally. You've done a lot, and I will speak to you very soon. I'll try and catch up with you this week.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, thank you. You've been amazing. And we want to thank some of our guests. Books, you've been on and you've been very, very active in the chat. So thank you so much. Uche Emeronye, thank you for coming on. Tunde, thank you so much. This is, I think, your first time for coming on. Thank you so much for coming on. Sister Adebola, Auntie Vicky, thank you. Thank you, Marcia, as always. And obviously our boss, Yemi. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Want to
Oh,
say
beautiful
thank you to
faces.
our Facebook family. Thank you, Facebook family. As always, you guys have always been there. And for all the Nigerian people that are on Facebook, well, the voiceover is coming live to you guys from next week, Thursday. So, you know, please, please, please share, 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 share. You know, Saffron made a promise when we started, and that was to bridge we want to bridge the gap within the communities, and that's what we're going to do. So just before I log out,
Oh,
yes,
don't
Yemi,
log
go
out
ahead.
yet. Sorry. I really just wanted to recognize some people on Facebook because they're family and they've really religiously been with us. Vicky Robert, thank you so much. Really nice conversations you and I had this evening. We also have Dada on most of the time, and so many other people. Okay, yes, my mom was on as well, so that's great. We just wanted to say thank you to all our Facebook people, and please keep engaging with us. Keep spreading the word. Help us share when you come on so we can reach more people. And look out for the YouTube link, which will be coming on as well. And yeah, please join us next week, Thursday, Wednesday here, and Thursday in Nigeria. Brilliant. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. And please stay safe out there. You know, it's still there, it's still out there, it's still catching people. But yeah, we wish you all a very safe rest of the week. And we hope to see you all again, same time next week, Wednesday in the UK, and next week, Thursday, live from Nigeria. It will be Lagos, so just in case, but it's online. So thank you so much, everybody, and have a good evening. Good night. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye, everyone.